Confucius once said, "We all have two lives, the second one starts when you realize you only have one." When and why did your second life begin?
Last week, a co-worker had a gigantic heart attack and instantly died right there in the cafeteria. I didn't know him, so while it was a horrible thing to witness, I'll eventually get over it. What shook me more was the fact he was only in his early 20s, just about younger than me, and wasn't much more overweight than I am. Seeing firsthand how suddenly all my bad decisions can just erase me from existence, and the fact I've had a couple of small chest pains and ignored them in the past. I threw out everything remotely sugary the instant I got home. Edit, thanks for those who have recommended seeing a doctor. I had already gotten a general checkup appointment just to be safe.
After having a stroke, I became much more determined to do stuff. I'm much more aware that YOLO.
2 years ago last month I used meth for the last time. Edit, wow, this blew up. I'll take the time to reply to everyone individually later, but I just want to say thank you to everyone for the kind words and encouragement. I would also like to say that I have a medical marijuana card, so I do not consider myself sober. I am definitely still in recovery, specifically from amphetamines and alcohol. Marijuana and Zoloft are the only drugs I will ever put in my body again. Edit 2, if you or someone you know is in the situation I was in 2 years ago, please DM me if you want to talk. I'm in the process of becoming a substance abuse specialist. This stuff is my passion.
January 13, 2018. I was in Honolulu, Hawaii during the false alarm ballistic missile strike. I called my parents to say goodbye and waited for the impact in the basement of our hotel with my fiancée. It took way too long for them to correct the mistake and let people know it was a false alarm. We were visibly shaken all day, and upon returning I decided then that I would request 3 months off work for my honeymoon instead of 2 weeks. Traveled the world and remembered how important family is compared to work. I still need to remind myself about it every so often, though, because the grind gets to you.
I had a woodworking accident just over 2 years ago. WASNT huge. I lost my left index finger, but it kind of punched me in the gut. Makes you realize you aren't invincible.
I got psychological help. I used to think that life just sucked for everyone and the trick was to fake your way through it. That faking was what I thought other people's happiness was. From puberty to after my 40th I lived where every moment of happiness was weighed down by an ever-present depression and lack of self-esteem. I know this is small compared to what most people go through in life, and that's exactly the mentality that kept me from getting help. Took a bit, but after talking with a counselor once a week for a few months, being referred to a psychiatrist with initial diagnosis, and working with my psychiatrist to find medicines that work, I finally feel what I can only assume is normal. I wake up most days with an underlying happiness that's never been there before. Moments with my kids are not darkened by thoughts that I don't deserve them or that they wouldn't love me if they knew me. Don't be like me. Even if your mountain seems small compared to your view of the mountain others are climbing, that doesn't mean you couldn't use some help finding the right path. To quote an old man from my childhood, it's dangerous out there. Edit, thanks for the gold. I truly hope that whatever type of help will lead to a better life for you, that you all get a chance to get it. Life can get better. Baby steps. I'm sailing.
A dear friend got cancer. Out of the blue and bad. We were 29 and both just hitting our strides in life and work. She was dead 18 months later. It absolutely rocked me to my core how fragile life is.
I suppose when I turned 20. Prior to that I had never thought past that age. Spent a long time stuck in a "now what?" phase trying to not have an existential crisis. Eventually went to college, got a degree and now work in the field I studied for. Battled depression and won, and found some of the things I was looking for in life. Starting to figure out what I want from life and what it's going to take to get there. So I guess I started my second life when I got out of my age 20 funk.
So 1 week after being told I have prostate cancer at 47, I decided I needed to get fitter and healthier, but honestly, my heart wasn't in it and I was on the verge of depression. It's 5:40 a.m. and I am idly drinking tea, before going to the gym, but I am 50-50 about going back to bed, and pretty much giving up on life. Scrolling down Facebook, I see the quote, "A man has 2 lives, one before he realizes he is mortal and one after." I stared at it like it was a revelation. Something I can't describe lifted in me. I drained my tea and went to the gym. Almost exactly 1 year later I am fit. Officially, I have lost 15 kilograms, with another 13 to go. And 6 mornings a week I row a 10K on a Concept 2 rowing machine, and go to the gym dong weights once a week. My last scan showed the cancer hasn't changed one bit in a year, and now will be monitored for 2 years to see if it's stable. If I do need to have it removed, I am in the best shape for a successful op. It's no exaggeration to say this quote changed my life.
And #X2OOB.
Update, wow. Just wow. I never expected this response. Thank you so much. I have tried to reply to everybody who asked a question. Thank you for the gold and silver, and thank you for the support. It means a great deal to an old fucker like me. Also, I will never type dong instead of doing ever again. Oh my god.
Mine isn't intense as some of these other stories, but here it goes. I played guitar for the last 5 years and it has become one of my biggest passions. 6 weeks ago I lost my footing while climbing a platform and I'm fairly certain I have permanent tendon damage in my left hand. It didn't sink in what exactly had happened until I was in my car after the doctor's appointment. I would now spend more of my life with this faulty left hand than when it was fine. This is now the rest of my one life. Passion's gone, zero activity in my life because I'm afraid of everything, and slightly more useless than before. I miss the ignorance. Edit, I always forget how supportive the people on this site can be. Thank you everyone. A lot of people recommend learning lefty, enough so that I will give it a try. The knowledge is there, I just need to get my hands to catch up. Thank you all again.
When I lost a wife and daughter. The first few months I don't even remember, but I do remember when I started to heal. It was a long road, but once I set my sights on going back to school to become a lawyer, I really began to start to heal. This Friday I will be sworn in as an attorney.
I realized I was the crazy ex and immediately switched that shit around. When I graduated high school and realized I had no skills, no interesting hobbies, nothing interesting about myself, and that it was no wonder I struggled so much with dating. Spent the last few years changing that. It was at really low point in my life. I didn't think things could get worse. So many things going wrong and so many bad choices being made. I was at a point where ending it all was the only option I could see. Upon cutting into my wrist everything was clear. It could be worse and it will be, but shit, I don't want to die. 56 internal stitches, 15 external, and I'm still here. Things did get worse, but then they got amazing. Edit, as much as I'm nowhere near as dark as this point of my life, I've been going 10 rounds in the ring with life over the last few months. All the messages and support you have all sent has really lifted me. Thank you.
Consider subscribing.